The fire pits of Apokolips don't forgive. They burn with heat that melts alien steel, fueled by the suffering of 1 billion enslaved souls and the industrial fury of a god's war machine. The atmosphere chokes with ash and sulfur, thick enough to kill unaugmented humans in minutes. Above the flames, towers of black metal rise like monuments to despair, crowned with omega symbols that pulse with Darkseid's eternal dominion. This is hell given form, a planet where hope comes to die, where even the new gods themselves have bent knee to absolute tyranny. Into this inferno, something falls. The object screams through Apokolips' crimson sky trailing fire, its trajectory wrong, its descent catastrophic. Parademons, scattered across the industrial sectors, turn chittering faces upward, sensing prey. In the tower throne rooms, monitors flicker with alarm. Something has breached Apokolips' defenses, not through boom tube, not through mother box technology, but through a rupture in space itself that tastes of foreign science and desperate mathematics. The impact crater carves a wound into the fire pit's edge, molten rock splashing outward. Slave workers scatter, chains jangling. Parademon patrol squads converge, energy weapons charging. In the settling dust and flame, something moves. Master Chief Petty Officer John 117 rises to his feet, armor scorched black, energy shields flickering red in his HUD. Every system screams warnings. Hull integrity, 63%, shield recharge, compromised, ammunition reserves, critical. His enhanced physiology absorbs the impact trauma that would have liquefied an ordinary human. Spartan augmentations and Mjolnir armor, working in concert to keep him combat effective. Barely. The weapon's voice crackles in his helmet, distorted by interference he's never heard before. Chief, I'm detecting... This isn't possible. The slipspace mathematics are all wrong. We're not in UNSC space. We're not in any space I have mapped. And Chief? Her voice drops to something almost like fear. There are life signs everywhere, millions of them, and they're all in distress. Chief's motion tracker lights up red. Hostiles, dozens, hundreds. Moving with insect-like coordination toward his position. He reaches for his MA-40 assault rifle. The magazine indicator reads 18 rounds remaining. His M6 sidearm, 1 magazine. The rest of his ammunition scattered across whatever dimensional barrier he'd just broken through. Against an entire world of enemies, he has perhaps 3 minutes of firepower. A Spartan makes do. The first wave of parademons screams out of the smoke, grotesque humanoid creatures with insectoid wings and energy weapons grafted to malformed arms. Chief moves, 40 years of combat experience distilled into pure economy of motion. 3-round burst drops the lead parademon. Sidestep, another burst. Roll, fire, reload on the move. The creatures are fast, faster than grunts, maybe as fast as elites. But they fight with mindless aggression, no tactics, no cover discipline. Chief has fought smarter enemies. Within 90 seconds, 12 parademons lie dead around the crater. Chief's assault rifle clicks empty. He drops it, scoops up a fallen parademon's energy weapon, some kind of plasma rifle, cruder than Covenant technology but functional, and keeps moving. The weapon is already analyzing the weapon's power cell, its charging mechanism, its targeting systems, information warfare. Every fight is a learning opportunity. Chief, these creatures, they're not naturally evolved. They're manufactured, cloned maybe, or genetically engineered. The technology signature is unlike anything in UNSC databases, but there are patterns, hierarchical control structures, slave coding in their neural pathways. The weapon pauses. These things are built to obey. They're soldiers with no choice. Master Chief says nothing. He's killed plenty of those before. The Covenant's grunts were slave soldiers too, knowing it never made pulling the trigger harder. You save who you can. You kill what threatens humanity. You finish the fight. That's the job. A massive boom echoes across the fire pits, something between thunder and a sonic weapon's discharge. The ground trembles. Chief's shields flare as a beam of crimson energy carves through the space where his head was a millisecond earlier. He rolls behind a chunk of torn metal, assessing. 3 larger figures emerge from the flames. Not parademons. These are humanoid, armored in dark metal that seems to drink light, carrying weapons that make the air itself shudder. Elite units. His motion tracker tags them in gold. High-value targets. The lead figure, easily 8 feet tall, points a gauntleted hand toward Chief's position. Its voice booms in a language Chief doesn't know, but the weapon translates instantly, pulling linguistic patterns from the energy signals, crackling through the air. Intruder, you have violated Apokolips. Surrender for processing or be destroyed for Darkseid's glory. Chief's response is to lean around cover and put 3 plasma bolts through the speaker's chest plate. The figure staggers but doesn't fall. Armor too thick, shields maybe, or just raw durability beyond human scale. The other 2 open fire, energy beams turning Chief's cover into molten slag. He's outgunned, outmanned. On an alien world with no support, no resupply, and no extraction plan, his armor is damaged, his ammunition nearly gone, and he's facing an enemy force of unknown size with capabilities he doesn't understand. Master Chief has fought his entire war at these odds. Weapon, he says, voice calm as ice. Plot me an exit vector, anywhere that's not surrounded by hostiles. We need intel before we can plan an offensive. Chief, this entire planet is surrounded by hostiles. I'm reading weapon signatures in every direction. Industrial centers, military installations, some kind of massive city structure. And Chief, the energy signature at the center of it all is reading at levels that shouldn't be possible. It's like staring at a sun made of malice. Then we move away from it. Find me civilians, non-combatants, anyone who might talk. Chief, I don't think this place has civilians. Master Chief grabs a chunk of broken metal, hurls it left. The enemy soldiers track the movement, firing. He breaks right, sprinting with Spartan enhanced speed through the smoke. Energy beams sear the air behind him. His shields scream under the strain. He needs distance, needs time to think, needs to understand what hell he's fallen into. Behind him, more boom tube discharges echo. Reinforcements, dozens, maybe hundreds. The entire planet mobilizing to crush a single intruder. A Spartan never dies. He just goes missing in action. But Master Chief has no intention of staying missing. He has a mission now, even if he doesn't fully understand it yet. Survive long enough to learn what this place is, find a way home, and complete the objective, whatever it takes. He vanishes into the smoke and flame of Apokolips's industrial hell, a ghost in green armor, hunted by gods. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. Hope shines brightest in the darkest night. The fire pits burn on, but now they burn with something they've never known, a Spartan's defiance. And in the throne room high above, ancient sensors begin to whisper of the anomaly to the one who rules this world of eternal oppression. Darkseid stirs, curious about the insect that dares to survive in his domain. The war for Apokolips has gained an unpredicted variable, and variables the Lord of Apokolips knows must be controlled or crushed. The industrial wastelands of Apokolips stretch for miles, a nightmare landscape of rusted machinery, toxic waste channels, and abandoned factories where slave labor was worked literally to death before being replaced. Master Chief moves through the shadows like a predator, every sense tuned to survival. His motion tracker shows parademon patrols crisscrossing overhead in search patterns, methodical but predictable. Decades of combat against superior numbers have taught him patience. The weapon works overtime in his neural interface, cataloging everything. Chief, I'm analyzing the atmospheric composition. It's breathable for you? Barely, but the toxin levels would kill baseline humans in hours. The gravity is roughly 1.3 times Earth normal. Your augmentations are compensating, but extended operations will accelerate fatigue. And Chief, I'm detecting slave labor camps. Thousands of biological signatures in distress. They're everywhere. Chief crouches behind a corroded coolant tank, watching a work detail below. Humanoid figures in rags move massive machinery components under the watchful eyes of armored overseers carrying electrowhips. The slaves are emaciated, some barely human-shaped, genetic variations he can't identify. Aliens, maybe, or something worse. One stumbles under the weight of a metal beam. The overseer's whip cracks. The slave doesn't scream. They're beyond screaming. Can you interface with their communication network? Chief asks quietly. Working on it. Their technology is strange. It's partially organic, partially technological, and there's something else, an underlying control system I can't fully decrypt. Every device seems connected to a central authority, but the encryption is beyond anything I've encountered. It's like the entire planet is one massive network prison. A boom tube erupts 50 meters to Chief's left. He's moving before the first parademon emerges, sliding down an embankment into a drainage channel filled with chemical runoff. His shields absorb the corrosive damage, another resource slowly depleting. Above, parademons swarm the position he just abandoned, screeching to each other in their alien language. The weapon translates fragments. Intruder, fire pit sector, orders from Granny Goodness, bring alive for conversion. Conversion. Chief has faced the flood's infection, watched human soldiers transformed into mindless puppets of a parasite intelligence. The word carries weight. Whatever these forces want, it's not a clean death. He moves deeper into the industrial sector, past factories that belch flame into the perpetual red sky. Every building bears the same symbol, the Omega, Darkseid's mark, a promise that all things end in his dominion. Chief's tactical mind catalogs potential strongpoints, ambush sites, defensive positions, old habits. You always scout the battlefield, even when the entire planet is hostile territory. A sound stops him, different from the industrial cacophony. Voices, arguing, humanoid but desperate. Chief approaches a collapsed section of factory wall, peering through the gap. 20 figures huddle in the ruins, wearing the same rags as the slave workers, but armed with crude weapons. Broken pipes, sharpened metal, one stolen energy rifle. They're arguing in low, urgent tones. The weapon translates, "Can't stay here. The patrols will find us." Fire pits or suicide? They're hunting something. All forces mobilized. Granny's orphanage won't take us back alive. We either die free or die slaves. No such thing as free on Apokolips. Escaped slaves. Rebels, maybe, or just desperate. Chief assesses threats. None of them have noticed him. They're poorly armed, malnourished, watching the shadows with the paranoia of prey animals. One wrong move and they'll scatter or attack in panic. He steps into the open, hands visible, weapon lowered. "I'm not your enemy." 20 pairs of eyes snap to him. Terror, confusion, awe. Emotions flicker across starved faces. One of the figures, scarred and gray-skinned with 3 eyes, raises the stolen energy rifle with shaking hands. "New God! Another one of Darkseid's experiments. Stay back." Not a new god. Chief keeps his voice level, non-threatening. I crashed here. I'm a soldier. Human. Human? The word is spat like a curse. Earth spawn? We've seen what you look like under Darkseid's tender mercies. You're too strong, too fast. No human survives the fire pits. The weapon whispers in Chief's ear. They've encountered humans before, captured heroes maybe, Superman, Wonder Woman. The Justice League has fought Apokolips. These slaves have seen Earth's champions defeated. Master Chief makes a decision. He reaches up, disengages his helmet seals with a hiss of pressure equalization, and removes it. The toxic air hits his face, acrid, burning his enhanced lungs but manageable. Let them see. Let them know he's human underneath the armor. The rebels stare. Chief's face scarred, weathered by 40 years of war, unmistakably human, meets their gaze without flinching. My name is Master Chief Petty Officer John 117. I'm stranded here. I need intelligence on this place, and you need someone who can fight. We can help each other. The three-eyed leader lowers his weapon slowly. You're insane. No one helps anyone on Apokolips. That's how you survive. You betray before you're betrayed. You hide before you're found. You die before you're broken. I've heard that before. Chief thinks of the outer colonies, pirate factions, desperate insurrectionists before the Covenant came. Fear makes animals of people. But I'm still here, and I'm betting you didn't escape just to hide in ruins until they find you. A younger rebel, barely more than a child with pale blue skin and burn scars covering half her face, steps forward. The patrols are looking for something that crashed. That's you, isn't it? You're what has Granny Goodness mobilizing the Furies. You're what made the Omega beams fire across the industrial sector. Probably. Then you've already dead. Granny doesn't mobilize her Furies for nothing. And if she wants you... The girl's voice drops to something like reverence mixed with horror. Darkseid knows you're here. The name hangs in the air like a physical weight. Chief sees it in their faces. Absolute terror, the kind that goes beyond rational fear into something primal. Whoever Darkseid is, these people would rather die than face him. Then we don't have much time. Chief replaces his helmet, seals clicking. I need to know what I'm facing. Troop strength, command structure, weapons capabilities, any weaknesses in their patrols. You give me that, I'll give you something better than hiding. What could you possibly give us? The three-eyed leader asks. A chance to fight back. A chance to fight back. Silence. Then impossibly, one of the rebels laughs. A broken, desperate sound. Fight back against Apokolips, against Granny Goodness, against Kalibak, against Darkseid himself. You really are insane. I've fought impossible odds before. Chief's voice carries the weight of every battle, every loss, every victory carved from the jaws of extinction. I'm still here. The enemies who said I couldn't win aren't. The three-eyed rebel studies him for a long moment, then nods slowly. My name is Kraz. I was a lowly, bottom caste, slave labor in the fire pits. For 60 cycles before I killed my overseer and ran. These are my people. We've been hiding in the ruins for 2 cycles, stealing supplies, avoiding patrols. We're ghosts, and ghosts don't last long in hell. Then stop being ghosts. Chief pulls up his motion tracker data, projecting it through his helmet's external display. Start being soldiers. I'll teach you. Another rebel, this one massive and stone-skinned, grunts skeptically. Teach us what? We know how to hide. We know how to run. Fighting just means dying slower. Fighting means making them pay for every inch. Chief gestures to the factory ruins around them. This is a defensive position. Multiple exits, high ground advantages, narrow approaches. You fortify here, set ambush points, use their own patrol patterns against them. You're thinking like prey. I'll teach you to think like hunters. The weapon adds privately, Chief, these people are starving and traumatized. They're not soldiers. They're not even trained militia. You're talking about turning slaves into a fighting force against what appears to be a planetary-scale military dictatorship run by literal gods. Then I'll teach them what Spartans learned first, Chief says aloud, letting the rebels hear it. You don't have to be stronger than the enemy. You just have to make it cost more to kill you than you're worth. And you have to believe that some things are worth dying for. Kraz laughs again, but this time it carries something different. Not hope, not yet, but maybe the memory of hope. All right, Earth human, you want to fight Apokolips? We'll show you what you're fighting. But when the Furies come, when Granny Goodness sends her elite to drag you to the orphanage for conversion, don't say we didn't warn you. Warning noted. Chief scans his motion tracker. 3 Parademon patrols converging on their position. They've been here too long. We move, now. Stay close, stay quiet, follow my lead. The rebels move with surprising coordination. 60 cycles of survival have taught them efficiency. Chief leads them deeper into the industrial maze, away from patrol routes, toward what the weapon identifies as abandoned thermal exchange stations. Defensible, fortifiable, a place to plan. Behind them, Apokolips burns. Above them, more boom tubes discharge. The net tightens. But Master Chief has operated behind enemy lines his entire career. He's been hunted by Covenant fleets, flood hordes, and Promethean constructs. As this is just another mission. Survive, adapt, win. Even in hell, a Spartan finds a way. The thermal exchange station is a cathedral of industrial decay. 3 stories of rusted catwalks, massive coolant pipes that haven't functioned in decades, and enough shadowed corners to hide a small army. Master Chief surveys it with a tactician's eye, already mapping fields of fire, choke points, escape routes. The rebels spread out behind him, nervous energy radiating from their malnourished frames. Defensive perimeter first, Chief orders, his voice carrying the natural authority of a soldier who's led men through worse. Kraz, put your best eyes on those upper catwalks. I need advance warning on any aerial approach. You, he points to the stone-skinned rebel. What's your name? Stock. The massive figure's voice rumbles like grinding boulders. Stock, you're on the main entrance. Nothing gets through without us knowing. Everyone else scavenge anything that can be used as a weapon, a barrier, or a tool. We're not staying here long, but while we are, this is a fortress. They move with the desperate efficiency of people who know hesitation means death. Chief watches them work, assessing capabilities. Kraz moves with intelligence, positioning watchers where patrol routes intersect. The blue-skinned girl, she said her name was Lyra, has nimble fingers and starts dismantling equipment for components with surprising technical knowledge. Stock is exactly what he looks like. A wall of muscle and stone, slow but unmovable. Chief, the weapon says quietly, I've been analyzing the communications intercepts. The search pattern is tightening. They know approximately where you are, and something called the Furies is being deployed. From context, I think these are elite units. And there's another name that keeps appearing, Granny Goodness. She seems to be coordinating the entire operation. What's her objective? Capture, not kill. The transmissions are clear. Bring the intruder alive for processing at something called the orphanage. Chief, from what I'm piecing together from these people's memories and the data fragments, this Granny Goodness runs a facility that takes beings and reprograms them. Brainwashing may be worse. She creates soldiers who are absolutely loyal to Darkseid. Chief's jaw tightens behind his helmet. He's seen Oni's darker programs. Watch the Spartan 2 project strip children of their humanity in the name of protecting it. But this sounds worse. Not training, but fundamental rewiring of who someone is. "They're not taking me alive," he says simply. Kraz climbs down from the upper level, his three eyes gleaming in the dim red light, filtering through broken skylights. "Your metal skin speaks to itself. Artificial intelligence, yes? We've heard of such things. The new gods have mother boxes, living computers that serve them. Your companion is similar." "Similar," Chief allows. "Can you tell me about Darkseid? Everything. I need to know what I'm dealing with." Kraz's expression shifts to something between reverence and absolute terror. You ask a slave to describe the sun that burns him. What words exist? He sits heavily on a broken pipe. Darkseid is everything. He is Apokolips. He is the Omega. He is the end of all things made manifest in God flesh. He has ruled this world for millennia, and he will rule it for millennia more until all reality bends knee to the anti-life equation. The what? The anti-life equation. Lyra's voice is soft but carries the weight of terrible knowledge. It's what Darkseid seeks above all things, a mathematical proof that free will is meaningless, that life itself is purposeless, that submission to Darkseid is the only logical conclusion. He believes it exists somewhere in the multiverse, if he ever finds it. She trails off, unable to articulate the horror. Chief processes this. Mathematical proof of nihilism, weaponized despair. It sounds insane, but he's faced the flood, a parasite that consumed entire civilizations and turned their knowledge against them. He's learned that the universe contains horrors beyond human comprehension. And this granny goodness? Darkseid's most loyal servant. Stock's rumble carries bitter experience. She runs the orphanage where young are taken, children, adolescents, even adults, and broken. Remade, turned into furies, into elite soldiers, into perfect slaves who love their chains. I was scheduled for the orphanage once. I killed 3 guards and fled into the fire pits instead. The Furies are her masterpieces, Kraz adds. Warriors trained from birth in every form of combat, enhanced beyond natural limits, programmed with absolute loyalty. They're not mindless like parademons. They think, they plan, they enjoy the hunt. And they never ever fail to bring Granny what she wants. Master Chief has faced super soldiers before. Other Spartans turned traitor, Covenant zealots, Promethean knights with combat algorithms millions of years old. Elite enemies aren't new. How many? In the active Furies? Perhaps 100? But Granny has thousands more in various stages of training. Kraz leans forward. Earth human, you don't understand. This isn't like your human wars. This is Apokolips. The new gods are exactly that, gods. Darkseid has leveled planets with his Omega beams alone. His elite warriors have fought your Justice League to standstill. Superman himself has bled on Apokolips. What makes you think a single soldier, however skilled, can survive what gods struggle against? Chief doesn't answer immediately. He's thinking about Reach, about Harvest, about every battle where victory was statistically impossible, but Spartans made it happen anyway. Because gods can die. Everything can. You just need to find the weakness. Darkseid has no weakness. Everyone has a weakness. Chief pulls up his motion tracker. 3 contacts approaching from the east, moving cautiously. Not parademons. Too slow. Too careful. We have company. The rebels tense, grabbing their crude weapons. Chief raises a hand. Hold! Let's see who they are first. He moves to the entrance, staying in shadow, watching. 3 figures emerge from the industrial haze. Humanoid, wearing patchwork armor, clearly scavenged from multiple sources. 2 are armed with energy weapons. The third carries what looks like an improvised explosive device. They're scanning the area, professional sweep patterns. Not slaves, not parademons, something else. The lead figure spots the thermal station and signals the others. They approach cautiously, weapons ready. Chief lets them get close, then steps into view. His own scavenged parademon rifle aims center mass. Stop there! The three freeze. The leader, a woman with crimson skin and facial scars in deliberate patterns, narrows her eyes. You're not lowly, too well equipped, not new god, wrong power signature. What are you? Stranded. Chief keeps his rifle steady. You're not part of the regular forces. Who are you? A moment of tense silence, then the woman lowers her weapon slightly. I am Vex. These are my squad, Torin and Mika. We're what you'd call resistance, though that word means little on Apokolips. We fight because we're too angry to die quietly. Her eyes narrow at Chief's armor. You're the anomaly, the crash in the fire pits. Half of Apokolips is looking for you. Found me, not to capture you. Vex's expression is hard, carved from years of brutal survival. To warn you, Granny Goodness has deployed the Furies, all of them. Mad Harriet, Lashina, Bernadette, Stampa, the full cadre. They're converging on the sector. You have maybe an hour before they lock down every exit and start tearing this place apart, brick by brick. The weapon confirms it in Chief's ear. She's right. I'm detecting massive troop movements. Energy signatures consistent with enhanced combatants. Chief, we need to move. But Chief is studying Vex, reading body language, combat stance. You're organized, trained. This isn't just survival. You're running operations. Vex smiles without humor. There are more of us than you'd think. Escaped slaves, defectors, even a few new gods who grew sick of Darkseid's tyranny. We live in the deep ruins. We strike when opportunity presents. We die when we're unlucky. We're nowhere near strong enough to threaten Darkseid's rule, but we're thorns in his side. And thorns survive by being too small to crush completely. You came to warn me. Chief lowers his rifle fractionally. Why? Because you're something new. Vex steps closer, studying his armor with professional interest. In all my cycles of resistance, I've never seen Granny mobilize the full Furies for a single target. You're either incredibly dangerous or incredibly important. Either way, you're a variable. Variables create opportunities. Kraz emerges from the shadows, his three eyes wide. Vex, you're still alive. Kraz! Recognition flickers across her face. Still running with lowlies, I see. You should join us. We have actual weapons, actual plans. Actual suicide missions, you mean? Better than hiding and waiting to be found. Vex turns back to Chief. Here's reality, stranger. The Furies will find you. When they do, you'll be captured, dragged to the orphanage, and Granny will break you. She'll turn you into one of Darkseid's perfect soldiers, and whatever made you dangerous will be aimed at Darkseid's enemies instead. That's if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, DSAD gets you, and his idea of processing involves things that make death look merciful. Third option, Chief says calmly. I fight back. Vex laughs, sharp, bitter. You? Against the Furies? Against Granny Goodness? Have you any concept of what you're facing? I've faced worse. Impossible. Master Chief thinks of the flood-consuming high charity, of Cortana's rampancy tearing through his mind, of watching Reach burn while knowing billions died. Test me. Something shifts in Vex's expression. Reassessment, calculation. All right, you want to fight? We know where Granny's supply convoys run. We hit one. We get weapons, maybe even armor that'll hold up better than your scorched metal suit. We cause enough chaos. Maybe it buys you time to figure out a way off this rock. And buys you opportunity. That's how resistance works, mutual benefit. Vex extends a scarred hand. You help us hurt them, we help you survive them. Deal? Chief considers. He needs intelligence, resources, allies. These people know Apokolips. They've survived it, and they're offering exactly what he needs most: actionable targets. He grips her forearm in the warrior's clasp. Deal. But we do it my way. Proper tactics, proper planning. No suicide runs. Your way. Vex's smile sharpens. Let's see if your way survives contact with Apokolips. Above them, the red sky darkens. Boom tubes discharge in the distance. Systematic, coordinated, a net drawing closed. The Furies are coming, and Master Chief Petty Officer John 117 prepares to teach hell what a Spartan really means. The supply convoy rolls through the industrial sector like a mechanized centipede. 6 massive hover transports surrounded by Parademon outriders and 2 armored walkers that move on 4-jointed legs, each mounting energy cannons capable of leveling buildings. Master Chief watches from a collapsed overpass 300 meters away, his helmet's optical zoom picking out every detail. The weapon is already cataloging threat assessments. Those walkers are the priority targets, she says. Energy signature analysis suggests they're piloted, not automated. Cockpit appears to be the forward section, armored but vulnerable to sustained fire. The hover transports have minimal armament. They're cargo haulers, not combat vehicles. Parademon escort strength, 43 visible, likely more in reserve. Vex crouches beside him, her scavenge rifle resting against the broken concrete. Standard supply run from the forge factories to Granny's orphanage. Food, raw materials, sometimes prisoners for conversion. We've hit 3 of these before. Lost people every time. Because you attacked without proper reconnaissance. Chief marks targets on his HUD, overlaying tactical data. Kraz, Stock, and 15 other rebels are positioned at secondary ambush points. Vex's resistance cell, another 12 fighters, holds the fallback route. This time we don't attack the convoy, we redirect it. Redirect? Vex sounds skeptical. These routes are programmed into the transport systems. They don't deviate. They will when the road ahead is impassable. Chief gestures to the massive coolant pipes running parallel to the convoy route. The weapon, can you interface with those pipe controls? Already done. The system is ancient but functional. If I trigger a controlled rupture, we'll flood the roadway with superheated coolant. The convoy will have to reroute through the secondary access tunnel where the ambush is actually waiting. Vex's eyes widen with understanding. You're not hitting them on their terms. You're forcing them onto yours. Basic tactics. Chief checks his scavenged Parademon rifle. Energy cell at 60%. He's also acquired a crude explosive device from Vex's people, more demolition charge than grenade, but functional. His Mjolnir armor shield system has stabilized at 75% efficiency after the weapon rerouted power from non-essential systems. He's operated at worst capacity. When do the Furies patrol this sector? They don't. Vex's voice tightens. The Furies hunt. They don't patrol like regular troops. They go where their prey is. And right now, their prey is you. Every minute we spend on this operation is a minute they get closer. Then we move fast. Chief activates his comm channel to all rebel positions. All units, stand by. Wait for my signal. Nobody fires until the walkers are in the kill zone. Stock, you're on the lead walker. Use the thermal charges on the leg joints like I showed you. Kraz, you disable the rear walker. Everyone else focuses on keeping parademons off them. Vex's team provides covering fire and secures the transports. Understood? Acknowledgements crackle back. Uncertain, nervous, but present. These people aren't soldiers. They're survivors playing at resistance. But Chief has worked with worse. He's turned civilian militia into effective fighting forces on a dozen colony worlds. You work with what you have. The convoy approaches. Chief's motion tracker shows the path, straight toward the coolant pipe junction. Weapon now. The pipes shudder. A groaning screech of overstressed metal fills the air. Then a geyser of superheated coolant erupts across the roadway. The lead transport swerves, collision alarms blaring. The convoy slows, transport AI systems calculating alternate routes. Just as Chief predicted, they vector toward the secondary tunnel, a narrow passage between two factory buildings. Perfect kill zone. Move! Chief drops from the overpass, enhanced strength absorbing the impact. He sprints toward the tunnel entrance, taking position behind a reinforced support pillar. The convoy enters, hover transports moving single file now, walkers adjusting their gait for the confined space. Parademons swirl overhead, chittering nervously. They sense a trap but can't identify the threat. The lead walker passes Chief's position. The rear walker enters the tunnel. Now, the supply convoy rolls through the industrial sector like a mechanized centipede. 6 massive hover transports surrounded by parademon outriders and 2 armored walkers that move on 4 jointed legs, each mounting energy cannons capable of leveling buildings. Master Chief watches from a collapsed overpass 300 meters away, his helmet's optical zoom picking out every detail. The weapon is already cataloging threat assessments. Those walkers are the priority targets, she says. Energy signature analysis suggests they're piloted, not automated. Cockpit appears to be the forward section, armored but vulnerable to sustained fire. The hover transports have minimal armament. They're cargo haulers, not combat vehicles. Parademon escort strength, 43 visible, likely more in reserve. Vex crouches beside him, her scavenged rifle resting against the broken concrete. Standard supply run from the forge factories to Granny's orphanage. Food, raw materials, sometimes prisoners for conversion. We've hit 3 of these before, lost people every time. Because you attacked without proper reconnaissance, Chief marks targets on his HUD, overlaying tactical data. Kraz, Stock, and 15 other rebels are positioned at secondary ambush points. Vex's resistance cell, another 12 fighters, holds the fallback road. This time we don't attack the convoy, we redirect it. Redirect? Vex sounds skeptical. These routes are programmed into the transport systems. They don't deviate. They will when the road ahead is impassable. Chief gestures to the massive coolant pipes running parallel to the convoy route. The weapon, can you interface with those pipe controls? Already done. The system is ancient but functional. If I trigger a controlled rupture, we'll flood the roadway with superheated coolant. The convoy will have to reroute through the secondary access tunnel, where the ambush is actually waiting. Vex's eyes widen with understanding. You're not hitting them on their terms. You're forcing them onto yours. Basic tactics. Chief checks his scavenged parademon rifle. Energy cell at 60%. He's also acquired a crude explosive device from Vex's people. More demolition charge than grenade, but functional. His Mjolnir armor's shield system has stabilized at 75% efficiency after the weapon rerouted power from non-essential systems. He's operated at worst capacity. When do the Furies patrol this sector? They don't. Vex's voice tightens. The Furies hunt. They don't patrol like regular troops. They go where their prey is, and right now, their prey is you. Every minute we spend on this operation is a minute they get closer. Then we move fast. Chief activates his comm channel to all rebel positions. All units, stand by. Wait for my signal. Nobody fires until the walkers are in the kill zone. Stock, you're on the lead walker. Use the thermal charges on the leg joints like I showed you. Kraz, you disable the rear walker. Everyone else focuses on keeping parademons off them. Vex's team provides covering fire and secures the transports. Understood? Acknowledgements crackle back. Uncertain, nervous, but present. These people aren't soldiers. They're survivors playing at resistance. But Chief has worked with worse. He's turned civilian militia into effective fighting forces on a dozen colony worlds. You work with what you have. The convoy approaches. Chief's motion tracker shows the path, straight toward the coolant pipe junction. Weapon now. The pipes shudder. A groaning screech of overstressed metal fills the air. Then a geyser of superheated coolant erupts across the roadway. The lead transport swerves, collision alarms blaring. The convoy slows, transport AI systems calculating alternate routes. Just as Chief predicted, they vector toward the secondary tunnel, a narrow passage between two factory buildings. Perfect kill zone. Move! Chief drops from the overpass, enhanced strength absorbing the impact. He sprints toward the tunnel entrance, taking position behind a reinforced support pillar. The convoy enters, hover transports moving single file now, walkers adjusting their gait for the confined space. Parademons swirl overhead, chittering nervously. They sense a trap but can't identify the threat. The lead walker passes Chief's position. The rear walker enters the tunnel. Now! Chief, you can't fight 4 Furies alone. I don't have to win. I just have to buy time. He squares his shoulders. Combat stance perfect despite the damage. Execute. He hears the transport's engines roar behind him, moving away with the rebels and freed prisoners. Good. Mission accomplished. They got the supplies, saved the prisoners, and hurt Apokolips logistics. Now comes the hard part. Lashina's smile widens. Brave. Stupid, but brave. Granny will enjoy this one. The Furies attack in perfect coordination. 4 directions simultaneously. Superhuman speed and strength, backed by millennia of training. Chief moves like water. Spartan reflexes and decades of combat experience translating into pure economy of motion. He can't match their strength, but he doesn't need to. He needs to survive. A Fury lunges with bladed gauntlets. Chief sidesteps, redirects her momentum into a support pillar. Another swings a massive hammer. He rolls under it, comes up with a piece of debris and hurls it at her face. Not enough to hurt, but enough to disrupt. Lashina's whip cracks toward him. He grabs a chunk of twisted metal as a shield. The energy weapon scorching the surface but not penetrating. But they're too fast, too strong, too many. A blow gets through, massive impact to his chest that sends him sprawling. His shields fail completely. Alarms scream in his HUD. He tastes blood. Lashina stands over him, whip coiled. Impressive. You lasted almost 30 seconds. Most don't manage 10. She raises her weapon for the final strike, and a boom tube erupts between them. The figure that steps through radiates power that makes even the Furies hesitate. Tall, muscular, wearing armor that gleams red and blue, carrying a weapon that hums with barely contained violence. His face is brutally handsome, scarred, and carries an expression of barely controlled rage. Furies! His voice is thunder and gravel. Stand down. This one is mine. Lashina bows her head. Lord Orion, I know what you were doing. Granny can find her own prey. Orion's eyes, burning with internal fire, fix on Master Chief. This warrior has caught the attention of someone far more important than the orphanage matron. Chief forces himself to his feet, every system screaming damage warnings. And who are you? I am Orion, son of Darkseid, warrior of New Genesis. The burning eyes narrow. And you, stranger, have done something no one has done in millennia. You've made Apokolips bleed. That interests me greatly. Orion doesn't offer a hand. He simply gestures with his weapon, an Astroforce rod that crackles with barely contained cosmic energy. Walk. Now. Before Granny decides my father's son doesn't outrank her authority. Master Chief assesses the situation through his crack HUD. Shields offline. Armor integrity at 48%. No weapons. 4 Furies surrounding him. And this new player, Orion, radiating power levels that make even the elite warriors hesitate. Fighting isn't an option. Not yet. He walks. The boom tube that opens swallows them both in light and thunder. The sensation is like being torn apart and reassembled simultaneously. Nothing like slip space translation. More violent, more immediate. Chief's Spartan physiology handles it, but barely. When they emerge, everything has changed. Gone is the industrial hell of the fire pits. They stand on a platform of crystalline metal suspended above clouds that shimmer gold and silver. Massive structures rise in the distance, towers of impossible geometry that seem to defy physics, connected by bridges of pure light. The sky is blue, actually blue. After the eternal red of Apokolips, it's almost painful to see. New Genesis, Orion says, his voice still carrying that barely controlled rage. The antithesis of Apokolips, where my father rules through fear and tyranny, Highfather leads through wisdom and peace. Where Darkseid crushes hope, we cultivate it. He turns those burning eyes boring into Chief's visor. And you, human, have walked into a war older than your species. Explain yourself. Unintentional? Chief's voice is steady despite his injuries. The weapon is working overtime, routing power to damaged systems, trying to bring shields back online. Dimensional accident during Forerunner artifact activation. I didn't choose Apokolips, yet Apokolips chose you. Orion begins pacing, aggressive energy barely contained. In the span of hours, you've survived the fire pits, organized slave rebels, struck a supply convoy, and held your own against the Furies long enough for me to intervene. You are either extraordinarily skilled, extraordinarily lucky, or something else entirely. Trained, Chief meets those burning eyes without flinching. I'm a soldier. That's what soldiers do. Adapt, survive, complete the mission. Mission! Orion laughs, sharp and bitter. What mission could possibly bring a human soldier to Apokolips? Your Justice League allies have attacked my father's world before, but they come in force, with their Trinity leading. You arrive alone, damaged, with technology I don't recognize. He stops pacing. What are you really? Master Chief Petty Officer John 117, UNSC Navy, Spartan 2 program. Chief straightens despite the pain, military bearing automatic after 40 years. And I need to get back to my universe. My war isn't here. Your war follows you. Orion gestures and holographic displays materialize in the air. Images captured from Apokolips security feeds. Chief sees himself fighting Parademons, organizing rebels, leading the convoy ambush. You've declared yourself enemy to Darkseid's regime by action. There is no neutrality on Apokolips, no mercy, no escape. The only question is whether you die as a slave or die free. Third option, I don't die at all. Something shifts in Orion's expression, not quite a smile, but acknowledgement. Spoken like a warrior. Good, because I didn't bring you here to lecture you or return you to Granny's tender mercies. I brought you here because you represent something Apokolips hasn't seen in generations. What's that? An unpredicted variable. Orion waves his hand and the holograms shift, showing the broader scope of Apokolips. My father rules through absolute control. Every outcome calculated, every rebellion anticipated and crushed, every threat neutralized before it fully emerges. He has spent millennia perfecting his dominion. And then you appear, from outside the multiverse he monitors, with capabilities he doesn't understand, causing chaos he didn't authorize. The burning eyes intensify. You're a crack in his perfect control, and cracks can be exploited. Chief understands immediately. You want to use me as a weapon against Darkseid. I want to use you as what you already are, a variable, a piece on the board he didn't place. Orion's hands clench. I am Darkseid's son, born on Apokolips, but raised here on New Genesis as part of an ancient peace treaty. I carry his blood, his rage, his capacity for destruction. Every day I fight against becoming what he is. Every day I fail a little more. The rage consumes me. But there's one thing that keeps me fighting. The knowledge that one day Darkseid will fall. And anything that hastens that day I support. Even if it means more people die in the fighting, people die every second Darkseid draws breath. Orion's voice is raw honesty. Apokolips grinds billions into dust in service of his conquest. He seeks the anti-life equation, not to rule the universe. He already does that through force, but to rule minds themselves. To make slavery feel like freedom, to make submission feel like love. Death is mercy compared to what Darkseid offers. The weapon whispers in Chief's ear. His biosigns are off the charts, heart rate elevated, energy signature spiking. Whatever he is, he's barely containing tremendous power. In Chief, I'm detecting motherbox technology integrated into his physiology. He's not human, not even close. Chief already knew that. You don't survive 40 years of warfare without learning to read dangerous beings. Orion is violence incarnate, held in check by force of will alone. A weapon aimed at his own father. What exactly are you proposing? Training, resources, armor repair. Our technologies may be compatible enough to restore your systems. In exchange, you continue doing what you're already doing. Disrupting Apokolips, organizing resistance, being the chaos in Darkseid's perfect order. Eventually, your presence will force my father to respond personally. And when Darkseid is distracted, focused on crushing you, Orion's smile is terrible to behold. Other opportunities present themselves. You want me as bait. I want you as a warrior fighting for the same goal. Darkseid's fall. How you achieve that is your choice. But alone, damaged, with no support, you'll last maybe another day before capture or death. With New Genesis backing, with proper equipment, with knowledge of Apokolips's true vulnerabilities, Orion extends his hand finally. You might actually survive long enough to matter. Chief considers. He needs resources desperately. His armor is failing, his weapons are gone, and he's operating in hostile territory with minimal intelligence. Orion is offering exactly what he needs, but the cost is clear. Become a weapon in someone else's war, a pawn in a conflict between gods that's raged for millennia. But then, he's been a weapon before. The Spartan 2 program made him into one. Oni pointed him at humanity's enemies and pulled the trigger. The difference is choice. He can walk away from this, refuse, try to survive on his own terms. Or he can accept that sometimes, to complete the mission, you work with whoever's pointing in the same direction. He grips Orion's forearm. I help you hurt Darkseid. You help me get home, and I make my own tactical decisions. I'm not a puppet. Agreed. Orion's grip is like iron. Though I warn you, Spartan, the longer you fight on Apokolips, the more it changes you. My father's world has gravity beyond the physical. It pulls at souls, corrupts hope, turns heroes into monsters. Even I feel it, and I was born to resist. You're human, mortal, fragile despite your enhancements. I've fought worse than despair. Chief thinks of Cortana's rampancy, of watching humanity nearly extinguished, of carrying the weight of a species' survival. Depression is just another enemy. We'll see. Orion releases his grip and gestures toward a towering structure in the distance. Come. Highfather will want to meet the human who's disrupting the eternal war, and our technicians will assess whether your armor can be restored. After that, the burning eyes blaze brighter. After that, we plan how to make Apokolips bleed. They walk across bridges of solidified light. Chief's tactical mind catalogs everything. The technology level here is centuries beyond UNSC standard, maybe millennia. Energy manipulation that makes Covenant tech look primitive. Structures that ignore fundamental physics. This isn't just advanced civilization. This is power operating on a different level entirely. The Justice League, Chief says as they walk. You mentioned them. Who are they? Earth's champions. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and others. They've fought Darkseid multiple times, defended their world from Apokolips's invasions. They're powerful, especially Superman. Kryptonian biology makes him nearly my father's equal in raw strength. But they operate under constraints, moral codes, reluctance to kill. Darkseid respects them as worthy opponents, nothing more. And they've never beaten him? They've driven him back, thwarted invasions, even wounded him. But beat him? Truly defeat him? Orion shakes his head. Darkseid is the Omega, the end. He doesn't lose. He accepts temporary setbacks while pursuing longer strategies. He's been playing a game that spans millennia while your species was still learning to make fire. Chief absorbs this. Enemy assessment, patient, tactical genius, near infinite resources, God-level power. It's the Covenant war all over again. Impossible odds, overwhelming enemy, no clear path to victory. Just one difference. He's not fighting to save humanity this time. He's fighting to survive long enough to get back to that fight. They enter the structure, a palace that somehow feels more like a war room. Holographic displays show Apokolips in real time, tracking troop movements, boom tube activations, energy signatures. A figure rises from a central throne, ancient, bearded, carrying himself with quiet authority that makes even Orion show deference. Hi, Father, Orion bows slightly. I bring the anomaly. The ancient eyes study Master Chief with an intensity that feels like it's reading his soul. Welcome, warrior from beyond. I am Isaiah, called High Father, leader of New Genesis and eternal enemy of Darkseid's tyranny. Orion tells me you seek to escape Apokolips. And complete my mission, Chief confirms. I have a war to get back to. People depending on me. As do we all. High Father's voice is gentle but carries weight. The question is whether your war and ours can find mutual benefit. Apokolips threatens not just New Genesis, but all of reality. Darkseid's search for the anti-life equation endangers every sentient being in existence. If your presence on Apokolips disrupts his plans, even temporarily, it serves a greater good. I'm not fighting your war for philosophy. Chief's tone is flat. I'm fighting because I'm trapped here, and Apokolips won't let me leave peacefully. The moment I have a way home, I'm gone. Understood. High Father nods. Then let us make a bargain. We will repair your armor, provide weapons, give you intelligence on Apokolips' vulnerabilities. We will not demand you fight our war, but we ask that while you pursue your own survival, you remember that the slaves suffering in the fire pits are not so different from the humans you protect. That the choice to help them costs you nothing but earns their loyalty. It's a masterful appeal, not demanding heroism, just suggesting it. Chief recognizes the manipulation, but also the truth. He's already helped the rebels, already freed prisoners, not because of grand strategy, but because it was the right thing to do. Fix my armor, he says finally. Give me actionable intel. After that, I'll do what I always do, adapt and overcome. That, High Father said with something like a smile, is all we ask. As technicians swarm forward to assess the Mjolnir armor, as the weapon begins interfacing with New Genesis systems to download tactical data, Master Chief allows himself one moment of honesty. He's in a war between gods, armed with failing equipment, cut off from everything he knows. But he's also done this before. walked into impossible situations and walked back out victorious. The Covenant thought humanity was prey. The Flood thought we were biomass. The Prometheans thought we were inferior. They were all wrong. Apokolips is about to learn the same lesson. The armory of New Genesis is a cathedral of impossible technology. Master Chief stands on a circular platform while holographic projections map every centimeter of his Mjolnir armor, and technicians, beings that look humanoid, but radiate subtle wrongness that marks them as distinctly not human, work with tools that seem to phase in and out of reality. The weapon interfaces directly with their systems. Her digital consciousness expanded across computational frameworks that make UNSC AI architecture look like stone tablets. Chief, this is incredible. Her voice carries genuine awe. Their technology doesn't just manipulate matter and energy, it manipulates the fundamental concepts underlying them. They're not repairing your armor. They're convincing it to repair itself by showing it what it was meant to be. A technician, introduced as Metron's apprentice, though Metron himself remains absent, circles the armor with analytical intensity. Fascinating, crude by our standards, but elegant in its simplicity. Powered exoskeleton amplifying enhanced biological capabilities. The energy shielding is primitive but functional. And this intelligence, he gestures toward where the weapon's avatar materializes in their systems. Artificial yet conscious, remarkable for a species still bound to physical computation. Can you fix it? Chief asks, ignoring the condescension. Fix implies it was broken. It was merely damaged. The technician waves his hand and tools respond. Crystalline implements that don't touch the armor, but cause it to reshape itself at molecular level. We're restoring integrity, enhancing efficiency where your universe's physics allow. The energy shields will operate at 97% efficiency. Hull strength increased by 30% through molecular restructuring. We're also integrating a motherbox interface, limited, translated through your AI companion, but functional. Motherbox? Chief watches his armor repair itself. Dents smoothing out, cracks sealing, scorched sections returning to military green. Orion steps forward, pulling a small device from his belt, a cube covered in intricate circuits that pulse with golden light. The living computers of the new gods. They're not artificial intelligence like your weapon. They're something else. Sentient machines that exist in symbiosis with their users. Mine grants me access to the source, allows me to manipulate energy, open boom tubes, and interface with new god technology. He holds it up. We're embedding a fragment into your armor's systems. Not a full mother box, those take years to bond properly, but enough for basic functionality. The weapon appears skeptical in Chief's HUD. Chief, I'm analyzing their integration proposal. It's not hostile. The mother box fragment would operate as a parallel system, enhancing rather than replacing my functions. I'd have access to boom tube networks, new god databases, enhanced processing. But there's something you should know. Mother boxes are alive. This fragment will have its own form of consciousness. Will it compromise my systems? No, it's more like adding a second AI. One that doesn't speak your language but can show you doors you couldn't see before. Chief considers for 3 seconds. Do it. We need every advantage. The integration is seamless, but bizarre. Chief feels something settle into his armor like a second heartbeat. Alien, ancient, curious. The mother box fragment doesn't speak in words, but impressions bloom in his mind. Images of boom tube networks spanning reality. Energy flows connecting worlds. The fundamental code underlying existence itself. It recognizes you, the technician says with surprise. The fragment accepts your purpose. Interesting. Mother boxes bond with those whose intentions align with the source's nature. It sees you as a protector, A warrior who fights not for conquest but for preservation. Can it get me home? Eventually, but not immediately. Highfather's voice comes from the armory entrance. He walks slowly, leaning on a staff that hums with contained power. Your universe exists outside our standard dimensional framework. The mother box fragment will need time to calculate the mathematics of your origin point. Days, perhaps weeks. I don't have weeks. Chief's repaired armor seals around him, systems coming online with efficiency he hasn't felt since the crash. Shields at 97%, structural integrity at 100%. New capabilities marked in his HUD, boom tube access, limited, energy manipulation, rudimentary, new God database access, restricted. Darkseid won't wait that long. No, Highfather agrees, which is why we must discuss what happens next. Orion tells me you freed prisoners from a supply convoy. Noble, but it's attracted attention beyond the Furies. Granny Goodness has reported the incident directly to Darkseid. You are no longer a curiosity, you are a threat to his control. The holographic displays shift, showing Apokolips in real time. Chief sees massive troop movements, not just parademons, but elite units, war machines, even what appear to be dragons made of living metal. All converging on the industrial sectors where he operated. They're hunting the rebels I helped, Chief realizes, systematically. Highfather's expression is grave. Darkseid tolerates small rebellions. They give the slaves hope just long enough to make crushing that hope more satisfying. But you've organized them, armed them, taught them tactics that actually work. That changes the equation. He can't allow it to spread. Chief thinks of Kraz, Stock, Lyra, the rebels who trusted him, who followed his lead into battle. Leaving them to die goes against everything he is. But staying means fighting a war that isn't his, spending time he doesn't have, risking everything for people he met hours ago. He spent 40 years making these calculations. The math never gets easier. Where are they now? He asks. The rebels from your convoy strike scattered as planned. The weapon reports pulling data from New Genesis systems. Vex's resistance cell has gone to ground in the deep ruins. But Kraz's group, the lowlies you first encountered, they're trapped in the thermal exchange station. Parademon forces have them surrounded. Current assessment, they have maybe 2 hours before they're overrun. They stayed. Chief's voice is flat. They held the position instead of scattering. They're waiting for you, Orion says quietly. You told them you'd teach them to fight. They believed you. Fools, perhaps, but loyal fools. Highfather sighs. This is the burden of leadership, warrior. You inspired hope. Now you must decide if that hope was false comfort or genuine possibility. Chief is silent for long seconds, tactical mind-running scenarios. He could abandon them, focus on finding his way home, surviving long enough for the mother box to calculate his universe's location. Pragmatic, efficient, the choice Oni would demand. Or he could go back, fight a holding action against overwhelming odds to buy the rebels time to escape, possibly die in the process, definitely delay his return home. The choice that serves no strategic purpose except keeping faith with people who trusted him. I need weapons, Chief says finally, and intel on Darkseid's forces in that sector. Troop strength, response times, reinforcement capabilities. Orion's savage grin returns. You're going back. They trusted me. I don't break that. Chief meets Highfather's ancient gaze, and strategically, abandoning them tells every other rebel on Apokolips that hope is pointless. Saving them tells them the opposite. If you want chaos in Darkseid's control system, you need the slaves to believe resistance is possible. Spoken like someone who's fought insurgencies before. Highfather gestures and another section of the armory opens. Weapons materialize on display platforms. Energy rifles that make Covenant plasma weaponry look like toys. Blades that cut through molecular bonds. Explosives that collapse spatial dimensions. Arm yourself, but understand, once you return to Apokolips, once you engage Darkseid's forces directly, you cannot claim to be a neutral party swept up in circumstances. You will be an active combatant in the eternal war. I became that the moment I crashed there. Chief approaches the weapons, the weapon already analyzing capabilities. He selects an energy rifle. The readout calls it an astro beam weapon, capable of sustained fire with integral power cell, good for 300 shots. A close combat blade made of something called nth metal, edges that can supposedly cut through anything, and a bandolier of concussion grenades that work by temporarily collapsing local space-time. Orion hands him something else, a small device that looks like a metallic seed. Emergency boom tube generator, single use. If you're about to be captured or killed, activate it. The mother box fragment will bring you back to New Genesis, automatically. And the rebels? It's keyed to your armor's signature only. It will save you. Only you. Orion's expression is hard. I know that's not what you want to hear, but I won't risk New Genesis technology falling into Darkseid's hands for a handful of slaves. You, we can use. Them, he shrugs. They're already dead. You're just deciding whether they die abandoned or inspired. Chief pockets the device without comment. He's worked with cold pragmatists before. At least Orion is honest about it. Boom tube coordinates to the thermal exchange station, Chief says to the weapon, and calculate extraction routes. I'm not leaving anyone behind. Chief, the numbers are bad. I'm reading 300 Parademons, 2 walker units, and something the database calls a Justify, an elite interrogator assigned to extract information from captured rebels before execution. If we engage, even with this upgraded equipment, we're looking at 20-to-1 odds minimum. I've beaten worse. When? All the time. Chief checks his new weapons, muscle memory adapting to their weight and balance. Different from UNSC gear, but functional. Open the boom tube. I'm done waiting. Highfather steps forward, placing a hand on Chief's armored shoulder. The touch is light but carries weight beyond physical. The source is the fundamental force of the universe. Creation, life, hope made manifest. It flows through all things, connects all beings. Darkseid seeks to end it, to replace the source with anti-life. When you fight on Apokolips, you fight against that ending. Remember that when the darkness tries to convince you that nothing matters. I fight because people are counting on me. Chief's voice is simple truth. Everything else is just noise. Then fight well, Master Chief Petty Officer John 117. Highfather steps back. And know that New Genesis watches. If you fall as a warrior. If you succeed, you prove that Darkseid's control is not absolute. The boom tube opens. Golden light and thunder that tears through space itself. Chief sees through it to Apokolips' red sky, the thermal exchange station besieged by Darkseid's forces, the rebels making their last stand. He steps through without hesitation. The sensation is becoming familiar. Reality bending, space collapsing, existence compressed to a single point, then expanded. He emerges into chaos. The thermal exchange station is burning. Energy weapons carving through metal supports. Parademons swarm like locusts. And in the center, backs against rubble, Kraz and his rebels fight with desperate fury. Contact left. The weapon marks targets. Chief's new rifle speaks. Energy beams that punch through Parademon armor like it's paper. 3 down before they even register his arrival. He moves, Spartan speed amplified by repaired armor, cutting through the swarm. Kraz sees him and his 3 eyes widen. You came back. Told you I would. Chief throws a concussion grenade, space-time collapses, and 20 parademons crumple as local gravity spikes to crushing levels. Weapon, mark extraction route. We're leaving, all of us. Chief, the Walker units are converging. Then we go through them. Master Chief raises his rifle and advances into the storm of fire, and behind him, the rebels follow because Hope has returned to hell wearing green armor. And for the first time in millennia, Apokolips' perfect control begins to crack. The Walker explodes in a shower of molten metal and screaming hydraulics as Master Chief's nth metal blade carves through its primary support strut. He rolls clear of the collapse, comes up firing, the Astro Beam weapon tracking and eliminating parademons with mechanical precision. Behind him, the rebels move in the formation he taught them. Overlapping fields of fire, mutual support, controlled retreat toward the evacuation point. Stock! Cover the left flank! Chief's voice cuts through the chaos. The massive stone-skinned warrior responds instantly, his scavenged energy weapon suppressing a parademon squad attempting to flank. Lyra works frantically at a control panel, the weapon guiding her through the process of overloading the station's coolant systems. One last surprise for their pursuers. Kraz fights beside Chief, his movements no longer the desperate flailing of a slave, but the controlled aggression of a trained combatant. Where do we go? Every sector's locked down. The deep ruins. Chief marks the route in his HUD, the weapon projecting it onto the rebels' crew display devices through motherbox integration. Vex's territory. She has tunnels the patrols don't know about. Vex will kill us for bringing this swarm to her doorstep. Then we make sure the swarm doesn't follow. Chief plants his last concussion grenade at the station's main support column. Lyra, how long on that overload? 30 seconds. Her hands blur across alien controls. Blue skin slick with sweat despite the cybernetic enhancements the weapon provides through Chief's armor systems. Chief, there's something else. The communications network. Someone's broadcasting on all frequencies, demanding you surrender. The weapon confirms it's the Justify, the elite interrogator. He's threatening to execute one rebel every minute until you give yourself up. Chief's response is to put 3 energy beams through the last Walker's cockpit. The pilot dies before he can scream. How many rebels does he have? 7, captured during the initial encirclement before you arrived. The mathematics are brutal. 7 lives against 43 in his group. The cold calculus says abandon them, save the larger number, complete the mission. It's what Oni would demand. It's what any pragmatic commander would do. But Chief remembers Installation 04, remembers leaving Jenkins behind to the flood because there was no time, no choice. He remembers every face of every Marine he couldn't save. The numbers never matter as much as command training says they should. Can you locate them? Already done. They're in a holding pen 200 meters northeast, heavily guarded, 40 parademons, plus the Justify himself. Chief, we don't have time for a rescue. The overload triggers in 20 seconds, and the concussion grenades will bring this whole structure down. We need to move now. Master Chief has spent 40 years making impossible choices in insufficient time. His response is automatic. New plan. Stock, Kraz. You lead the main group to the deep ruins. Use the route I marked. The weapon will guide you through Mother Box interface. Don't stop. Don't look back. Don't engage unless absolutely necessary. Kraz's 3 eyes widen with understanding and horror. You're going for the prisoners. 7 seconds to overload. Move! The rebels run. Chief goes the opposite direction, enhanced speed carrying him through the burning station toward the enemy position. The weapon protests in his ear. Chief, this is tactically insane. The structural collapse will kill you if you're still inside. Then calculate the timing. Chief vaults a collapsed beam, slides under a falling catwalk. His HUD displays the countdown. 5 seconds to overload. The holding pen appears ahead. Chain link enclosure, prisoners huddled inside, parademons surrounding them. And standing above it all, a figure that radiates cold authority. The Justify is 9 feet of armored menace, his helmet featuring a single glowing eye slit, his gauntlets dripping with devices designed to extract truth through agony. His voice booms across the frequency, surrender, anomaly, or watch them die. Chief throws the nth metal blade. It covers 50 meters in a blink, punches through the Justify's chest plate and out his back. The elite warrior staggers, looks down at the wound in disbelief, then collapses. 3 seconds. Chief crashes into the parademon line like a freight train. The Astro Beam weapon is a continuous line of destruction. Energy beams carving through insectoid bodies faster than they can respond. His shields flare under return fire, but hold. He reaches the pen, tears the gate off its hinges with Spartan-enhanced strength, amplified by Mjolnir servos. Run! Northeast! Follow the others! The prisoners don't question, don't hesitate. They run. Chief provides covering fire, walking backwards, every shot a kill. The weapon counts down, 2 seconds, 1 second. The coolant system overload triggers. Superheated liquid erupts from ruptured pipes in a geyser that fills the station with boiling death. Parademons scream, caught in the torrent. Chief's shields scream louder, energy levels plummeting as they absorb thermal damage that would vaporize unarmored flesh. The concussion grenades detonate in sequence. Space-time collapses at 6 points simultaneously. The station's supports buckle, twist, fail. 3 stories of industrial architecture begins its deathfall. Chief runs. Enhanced speed, decades of combat experience, and pure survival instinct chart a path through falling debris. A support beam crashes where his head was a millisecond earlier. A catwalk collapses beneath his feet. He leaps, catches a hanging chain, swings to solid ground. The entire world is thunder and screaming metal. His shields fail. Hull integrity warnings flash red. Something massive impacts his back, drives him forward through a wall. He rolls with the impact, keeps moving, keeps running because stopping means dying. The station collapses behind him in a wave of destruction. Chief clears the blast radius with meters to spare, crashes into a chemical runoff ditch, and forces himself to keep moving. His armor systems scream damage warnings. Shield generators offline. Left arm servo damage. Helmet display cracked. But he's alive. The rebels are alive. And behind him, 300 parademons in their command structure are buried under tons of industrial wreckage. Chief, the weapon's voice carries relief and exasperation. You're insane. You know that, right? Mission accomplished. Chief forces himself to his feet, every movement protesting. His enhanced physiology is already working on the damage. Bruised ribs healing, torn muscles reknitting. But it'll take time. Where are the others? Entering the deep ruins now. Vex's people detected them and are actually not shooting. I think your reputation preceded you. Chief limps toward the coordinates, using his rifle as a crutch. The adrenaline is fading, leaving pain and exhaustion. He's been in combat for 6 hours straight with inadequate rest, insufficient calories, and continuous damage accumulation. Even Spartans have limits. The entrance to the deep ruins is a crack in Apokolips's industrial foundation, a wound in the planet's surface that leads down into older, forgotten levels. Chief descends carefully, every step calculated. His night vision barely penetrates the darkness. This deep, even Apokolips' perpetual red sky is blocked out. Figures emerge from the shadows. Vex and her fighters, weapons raised but not firing. Vex herself steps forward, studying Chief's damaged armor with professional assessment. You actually did it. Hit a convoy, freed prisoners, held off the Furies long enough to escape, and just collapsed an entire industrial station on Darkseid's elite forces. She laughs, sharp and disbelieving. Either you're the most skilled warrior I've ever encountered, or you have a death wish that puts Orion to shame. Neither. Chief pushes past her, looking for his rebels. He finds them clustered in a makeshift camp, exhausted, injured, but alive. Kraz sees him, and something like awe crosses his alien features. You came back, again, for 7 prisoners you'd never met. Told you I don't leave people behind? Chief accepts a canteen of water. The liquid tastes like metal and chemicals, but his augmented physiology can process it. Everyone accounted for. 43 from the thermal station, 7 you rescued, 50 souls alive because of you. Kraz's voice drops. In 60 cycles of rebellion, we've never saved that many in a single operation. Usually we count success by how few we lose. Vex approaches, her expression complex. You've complicated things, Earth-human. That station collapse. Darkseid will notice. Granny Goodness will demand blood. And you've just proven that organized resistance with proper tactics can actually hurt Apokolips. She pauses, which means either you've started something or you've just signed all our death warrants. Both, probably. Chief checks his armor's diagnostics through the weapon's interface. Shield generators will need 4 hours to repair. Servo damage requires manual maintenance he can't perform here. He's operating at maybe 70% capacity, and that's optimistic. How many more rebels are there? Total, across all cells. Maybe 300 we can contact. Vex pulls up a crude holographic map. Nowhere near New Genesis quality, but functional. Scattered across the industrial sectors, the waste zones, the abandoned foundries. We survive by staying small, staying scattered, never presenting a unified target. That keeps you alive but accomplishes nothing. Chief studies the map, tactical instincts analyzing. Darkseid tolerates scattered cells because they're no threat. But if you coordinate, combine strength, hit multiple targets simultaneously, we die. Vex's voice is flat. Every time someone tries to unify the resistance, Darkseid crushes them as an example. Spectacularly, publicly, it's why we stay small. Then we don't unify, obviously. Chief's mind is already building the strategy. Cell structure remains intact. Compartmentalized, independent operation capability. But we create a communication network, share intelligence, coordinate timing, make Darkseid fight on multiple fronts simultaneously, force him to spread his resources. You're describing guerrilla warfare. Vex sounds surprised. Most outsiders who come here want to challenge Darkseid directly, prove they're stronger. You're talking about bleeding him slowly, because that's how you beat a superior enemy. Chief has fought this war before. Humanity against the Covenant's overwhelming might. You don't match strength to strength. You attack logistics, disrupt communications, force them to waste resources hunting shadows. You make victory cost more than it's worth. Kraz laughs quietly. You really think we can make Darkseid decide we're not worth the effort? No. Chief's honesty is brutal. I think we can make him make mistakes. And gods who make mistakes can bleed. Silence falls over the gathered rebels. They're looking at him with something Chief recognizes. The expression soldiers get when someone offers them hope they're afraid to believe in. He's seen it on colonial militia faces, on Marine recruits before their first drop, on Sangheili warriors who join the alliance against the Covenant. Hope is the most dangerous weapon of all. It makes people fight when surrender is rational. It turns slaves into soldiers. It cracks the foundations of empires. I need to know something, Vex says quietly. Why? You crashed here by accident. New Genesis clearly offered you sanctuary. I saw the boom tube discharge before you attacked the station. You could have stayed there, safe, worked on finding your way home. Instead, you came back, risked everything. For slaves you don't know, in a war that isn't yours. Why? Master Chief thinks of Reach, of the billions who died while he was in slip space. He thinks of every world he couldn't save, every Marine he couldn't protect, every mission where he succeeded tactically but failed morally. He thinks of 40 years carrying the weight of humanity's survival. Because someone has to, he says simply, and I'm here. It's not grand, it's not inspiring oratory, it's just truth. But truth, spoken plainly in hell itself, carries power. Vex nods slowly. Then we're with you. All of us. Whatever insane plan you're building, we'll follow. She extends her hand. But understand, when this goes wrong, when Darkseid's full attention turns to crushing us, we die together. No escape, no surrender. We burn Apokolips on the way down, or we don't burn at all. Chief grips her forearm. Then we better make it burn bright. Above them, in the throne room that overlooks all of Apokolips, Darkseid watches surveillance feeds of the collapsed industrial station. His face, brutal, carved from living stone, shows no expression, but his eyes burn red with terrible focus. Interesting, he says to the empty air, an anomaly with skill, with determination, with the capacity to inspire hope in the hopeless. He rises from his throne, omega energy crackling around his massive frame. Darkseid, prepare your laboratories. When we capture this creature, I want to know what makes it function, and then I want to break it so completely that even its memory becomes a lesson in the futility of resistance. The war has escalated, and Master Chief has just become Darkseid's primary target. The deep ruins of Apokolips are a monument to forgotten atrocities, layers of civilization built atop civilization, each one crushed beneath Darkseid's expansion, each one leaving bones and broken dreams in the darkness. Master Chief moves through tunnels that predate the current regime, his helmet's enhanced vision revealing ancient writing in languages the weapon can't fully translate. The rebels have made these forgotten spaces into a warren, a shadow network beneath the tyrant's perfect control. Chief, I'm detecting something. The weapon's voice carries unusual hesitation. Energy signatures deep below us. Not new god technology, not anything in my databases. It's old, really old, and it's aware of us. Chief stops, hand moving to his astrobeam rifle. Around him, the rebel leadership, Vex, Kraz, Stock, and Lyra, tense at his reaction. They've learned to read his body language, to trust his instincts. 2 days of operations together will do that. 2 days. In that time, they've hit 4 supply convoys, sabotaged 3 communication relays, and freed over 100 prisoners. The weapon coordinates between resistance cells through motherbox integration, creating a distributed network that mirrors UNSC tactical doctrine. Small victories, incremental damage. Nothing that draws overwhelming response, but everything that bleeds resources. Darkseid's forces are adapting. Patrols have doubled. Walker units move in groups now, learning from their losses. And worst of all, the Furies operate in the open. Lashina, Stampa, Mad Harriet, and Bernadette, hunting through the industrial sectors with methodical fury. But the rebels are adapting too. They fight smarter, strike faster, disappear before reinforcements arrive. They're becoming soldiers, real ones. What kind of aware? Chief asked the weapon quietly. Observing, analyzing. It's been tracking your movements through the ruins for the past hour. No hostile action, just watching. Chief, I think whatever's down there has been here longer than Apokolips's current regime. Buried, waiting. Vex notices Chief's attention shift downward. You sense it too. We call it the deep whisper. Sometimes in the lowest levels you hear things, see things. Most of us avoid going that far down. Those who do either don't come back or come back changed. Changed how? Mad or enlightened? Hard to tell the difference in hell. Vex's expression is grim. There are stories that Apokolips wasn't always Darkseid's world, that he conquered it, transformed it, but couldn't erase everything. Some things are too fundamental to destroy. They just go deeper. Chief files the information away. Unknown variables in hostile territory require investigation, but not now. Not with immediate threats still active. We focus on the mission, the weapon, status on the communications network, operational across 7 cells. We've got maybe 200 fighters now capable of coordinated action. But Chief, there's a problem. The weapon pulls up tactical displays through his HUD. Darkseid's forces are establishing a pattern. They're not just responding to our attacks, they're predicting them. Someone's analyzing our operations, building a profile of our tactics. Darkseid! Kraz spits the name like a curse. Darkseid's chief scientist. If anyone can decode strategy patterns, it's him. He's been dissecting military tactics for millennia. Then we change patterns. Chief pulls up the map of Apokolips' industrial sector, marking potential targets. We've been hitting logistics, supply lines, communications, prisoner transports, predictable targets for resistance. What's unpredictable? Lyra's young voice cuts through the discussion. The fire pits. Everyone turns to her. The blue-skinned girl looks smaller in the darkness, burned scars on her face catching the dim light. But her eyes hold terrible knowledge. The fire pits are where the energy cores that power Apokolips technology are forged. Lowlies work them in shifts. It's where I was before I escaped. They're heavily guarded because losing even one pit impacts planetary power distribution. But they're also considered suicide to attack. No one tries it, which makes them the perfect target. Chief studies the schematics. The weapon pulls from captured databases. We don't destroy them. That'd take firepower we don't have. We sabotage the output, reduce efficiency, force Darkseid to divert resources to maintenance instead of hunting us. Vex is already shaking her head. It's a death trap. The fire pits are in the heart of the industrial complex. Multiple Fury patrols, elite guard units, and Kalibak himself oversees that sector. Darkseid's son, the one who stayed loyal. He's not like Orion. He's pure brutality, no strategy, just overwhelming violence. Good. Chief's tone carries 40 years of combat experience. Brutes make mistakes when they're angry. We hit the fire pits, make it personal, and Kalibak will respond emotionally instead of tactically. That's when we hurt him. Stock rumbles his agreement, massive stone hands clenching. I like this plan. It's insane, but I like it. Chief, the weapon's voice drops to private channel. There's something else. I've been analyzing communications intercepts. Darkseid hasn't left his throne room since your arrival. He's watching everything personally now. This isn't just about crushing resistance anymore. You've become his personal interest. That's not good. When gods take personal interest in mortals, mortals tend to die in educational ways. Noted. Chief switches back to group channel. We have 20 hours to prepare. Lyra, you know the fire pit layout. Work with the weapon to map guard rotations, shift changes, weak points. Vex, I need your best infiltrators. This is a precision strike, not a frontal assault. Kraz, Stock, you're with me on the main team. We go in quiet, sabotage the cores, extract before they know we're there. And if we're discovered, then we make them pay for every second. Chief checks his armor. Shields back to full capacity, servos repaired through new Genesis technology and Rebel ingenuity. He's as ready as he'll ever be. One more thing, no unnecessary casualties. We're not here to kill slaves who had no choice in their service. We're here to damage the machine, not the people trapped in it. Vex's expression softened slightly. You really believe that matters? Showing mercy in hell? It's what separates soldiers from murderers. Chief has had this conversation before, with Marines who wanted revenge against the Covenant, with ODST teams who saw aliens as vermin. We fight the system, not the victims of it. Clear? Reluctant nods. These people have suffered under Apokolips for generations. Mercy doesn't come naturally, but they trust him enough to try. The next 18 hours are preparation, meticulous, methodical, the kind of mission planning Chief has done 1,000 times. Routes memorized, contingencies planned, equipment checked and rechecked. The rebels move with professional focus now, transformed from desperate fugitives into something resembling a military unit. Lyra works with the weapon, her technical knowledge of the fire pits combined with New God computational power, creating a three-dimensional map of stunning detail. She marks guard positions, identifies the primary energy cores, plots escape routes through maintenance tunnels that slaves use, but guards ignore. Here, she points to a specific core. This one feeds power to the northwestern industrial sector, including the communications hub we've been avoiding because it's too heavily defended. Sabotage this core's output regulators, and that hub goes dark for at least 6 hours while they reroute power. 6 hours, Chief nods. Enough time for the other cells to hit targets they couldn't reach before. The weapon coordinate with the network. When this core goes dark, I want simultaneous strikes across 5 sectors. Force Darkseid to fight on multiple fronts. Coordination set, 7 cells ready to move on your signal. The weapon pauses. Chief, this is escalation. We've been thorns in Darkseid's side. This makes us a legitimate military threat. His response will be proportional. That's the point. Chief finishes checking his Astro Beam rifle, loads concussion grenades, ensures his nth metal blade is secured. We've proven resistance is possible. Now we prove it's effective. Either we inspire the entire slave population to rise, or we force Darkseid to commit so many resources to crushing us that New Genesis gains advantage in the larger war. Or we all die screaming in Darkseid's torture chambers. Also possible, Chief's honesty is brutal, but better than dying quietly. 20 hours later, they move. The fire pits live up to their name. Massive industrial furnaces that burn with heat sufficient to forge the energy cores, powering Apokolips' impossible technology. Chief leads his team through maintenance tunnels, their movement silent despite the chaos above. Shift changes help. Tired workers and inattentive guards create windows of opportunity. They emerge into the core chamber, a cathedral of industry, 3 stories tall, dominated by the central energy forge. Pipes thick as starship hulls carry superheated plasma. Slaves work in protective gear that's barely adequate, their movements mechanical, with exhaustion. And overlooking it all, standing on a command platform, is Kalibak. Darkseid's loyal son is exactly what Vex described. Massive, armored in dark metal, carrying a weapon that's half club and half battering ram. His face is brutal, almost bestial, with none of Orion's conflicted intelligence. Pure violence given form. He's alone, Stock whispers. Where are the Furies? The weapon answers, deployed across other sectors. This is interesting. Darkseid has spread his elite forces thin. He's either confident this location is secure or he's anticipating we'll be elsewhere. Chief realizes the truth instantly. It's a trap. He's predicted we'd think the fire pits were vulnerable and counted on us being smarter than attacking obvious targets. We walked right into it. As if on cue, boom tubes erupt around the chamber. Furies pour through. Lashina with her energy whips, Stampa with fists like siege weapons, Mad Harriet shrieking with genuine insanity, Bernadette's knives dripping with poisons that dissolve armor. And behind them, walking with terrible purpose, Darkseid himself, thin, ancient, carrying instruments of torture that hum with eager malice. Welcome, Anomaly. Darkseid's voice is cultured, almost gentle. Lord Darkseid has waited for you to demonstrate sufficient threat level to warrant his personal attention. Congratulations, you've succeeded. Now comes the truly interesting part. Learning what makes you extraordinary before we erase that extraordinarily. Kalibak's laughter booms across the chamber. I wanted to crush you myself, but Father wants you intact, for now. He hefts his massive club. So I'll just break everything that's not vital. The Furies advance in perfect coordination. The trap snaps shut, and Master Chief realizes he's made the first significant tactical error of his campaign. Weapon, he says quietly. Execute contingency Omega. Get the others out. Chief, no. That's an order. The emergency boom tube activates behind the rebel team. Vex grabs for Chief, but Kraz holds her back. Understanding what's happening, they're pulled through dimensional space, escaping to safety. Master Chief stands alone in the fire pits, facing Darkseid's assembled might. That was foolish, Darkseid observes. Sacrificing yourself for slaves. How human, how pathetically noble. Chief raises his rifle, shields at maximum, every system ready. Come find out how foolish. The Furies attack, and hell learns what a Spartan really means. Master Chief has 3 seconds before the Furies reach him. In the first second, his tactical mind catalogs the battlefield. Elevated catwalks providing high ground advantage, coolant pipes offering explosive potential, slave workers scattering, good, fewer civilians in the crossfire, energy forge core creating thermal interference with targeting systems. Kalibak holds the central platform but hasn't moved yet, observing, letting the Furies test him first. In the second, the weapon floods his HUD with threat assessments. Lashina. Energy whips with 12-meter range, superhuman speed, centuries of combat experience. Stampa. Seismic impact capabilities, near invulnerable hide, strength class 10, equivalent to Covenant Hunters. Mad Harriet. Unpredictable attack patterns, berserker rage granting pain immunity, razor talons coated in neurotoxin. Bernadette. Surgical precision striker, poison blades bypass most armor, tactical coordinator for the group. In the third second, Chief moves. He doesn't retreat, doesn't seek cover. Instead, he sprints directly at Stampa, the largest, slowest target, and slides beneath her massive fist as it craters the floor where he stood. His nth metal blade carves across her ankle tendons in passing. Not deep enough to cripple something built that tough, but deep enough to hurt. Stampa roars, stumbles. Chief uses her massive body as cover, firing his Astro Beam rifle over her shoulder at Bernadette. The assassin twists with impossible grace, but one bolt catches her shoulder, spinning her aside. 2 Furies disrupted in 5 seconds. Lashina's whip cracks toward him. He doesn't dodge, instead catching it on his armored forearm. The energy tears through his shields, drops them to 60%, but he holds. With his other hand, he fires point blank at Lashina. She jerks her whip, pulling him off balance. His shots go wide. They're locked together for a microsecond, close enough that he sees the surprise in her eyes. "You're better than expected," she hisses. Chief's response is to activate a concussion grenade on his belt and release the whip. Lashina sees it, her eyes widening, and she releases the energy weapon to dive clear. The space-time collapse catches Stampa instead, slamming her into the floor with gravitational force that cracks industrial steel. 8 seconds of engagement. Chief has wounded 2 Furies and disrupted their coordination. But Mad Harriet is coming, and she doesn't care about tactics or self-preservation. She hits him like a freight train wrapped in razors. Chief's shields scream, failing completely under the berserker assault. Her talons find gaps in his armor: shoulder joint, neck seal, hip actuator. Neurotoxin floods his system. His Spartan augmentations fight the poison. Enhanced immune system working overtime. But paralysis creeps up his left side. He drives his armored knee into her sternum with enough force to crumple titanium. Mad Harriet laughs, actually laughs, and keeps clawing. Chief grabs her head with both hands and uses his helmet as a weapon, slamming his reinforced faceplate into her skull repeatedly. Once, twice, 3 times. She finally staggers back, still laughing, blood streaming from a broken nose. "More! Give me more!" Her shriek is ecstatic madness. Chief's left arm is nearly useless now, neurotoxins spreading despite the weapon rerouting nanomachines to contain it. His shields are gone. Armor integrity at 70% and dropping. He's been in combat for 20 seconds and he's already losing. Kalibak finally moves, dropping from his platform with impact that shakes the chamber. Enough playing. Father wants him intact, but I'm allowed to break him first. His massive club swings in an arc that would pulverize a scorpion tank. Chief rolls, enhanced reflexes strain to their limit, and the club impacts where he stood with force that creates a crater. He comes up firing, Astro Beam rifle set to maximum output. Energy bolts hammer Kalibak's chest plate, scoring the metal but not penetrating. The brute doesn't even flinch. That tickles. Kalibak advances, methodical now. I've fought Superman. I've fought Orion. I've broken Wonder Woman's bones. What makes you think you can survive me? Chief doesn't waste breath on answers. He targets the coolant pipes above Kalibak. 3 shots, precision strikes at stress points. The pipes rupture. Superheated coolant cascades down in a deluge of chemical fire. Kalibak roars, more enraged than pain, but he's momentarily blinded. Chief uses those seconds. He sprints for the energy forge core, the weapon already calculating. Chief, if you overload that core, the explosion will level this entire sector, including you. I know. Chief plants his remaining concussion grenades at the core's regulation points, not to explode it, but to destabilize the containment field. The energy signatures will look like imminent catastrophic failure. But Darkseid can't afford to lose a fire pit core. He'll have to evacuate or contain. Either way, it buys time. For what? You can't escape. I've lost contact with New Genesis. Whatever's jamming our boom tube connection is military grade. You're trapped here. Then I hold the line until I'm not. Chief turns to face the Furies again. They're regrouping, wary now. He's proven more dangerous than they expected. Stampa limps. Bernadette holds her wounded shoulder. Even Lashina circles with newfound respect. But Darkseid hasn't moved. The ancient scientist watches from his safe position, instruments humming as they record data. Fascinating, enhanced biology, powered armor, tactical excellence, and most interesting, genuine heroism. You actually believe you can win. The cognitive dissonance required to maintain that belief in the face of overwhelming evidence, to the contrary, suggests either profound self-delusion or, he pauses, tilting his head, or you've won so many impossible battles that you've lost the capacity to recognize true impossibility. I must study this. Lord Darkseid will find your psychological profile most illuminating. Chief's response is to throw his nth metal blade. It crosses the distance to Darkseid in a blur and stops, inches from the scientist's throat. Held in place by a force field Chief's armor can't even detect. Predictable, Darkseid sighs, but appreciated. That confirms you're still operating under standard combat protocols despite neurotoxin exposure, shield failure, and numerical disadvantage. Your training is exceptional. Breaking it will be equally exceptional. The energy forge core's alarms begin wailing. The weapon's destabilization is working. Containment fields fluctuating. Power output spiking dangerously. Slave workers flee in panic. Even the Furies look uncertain. Calibax snarls at Darkseid. We need to contain that. Then contain it. Darkseid's eyes never leave Chief. But don't lose our prize. Father's orders. Calibax faces an impossible choice. Stop the core meltdown or continue the attack. He chooses both, bellowing orders. Furies, secure the anomaly. I'll handle the core. Chief has created a divided enemy. It's not much, but it's something. He backpedals toward the maintenance tunnels, firing to keep the Furies at bay. His left arm is completely numb now, right arm compensating, but his accuracy is declining. The neurotoxin is winning. Lashina coordinates the Furies with hand signals. They spread out, cutting off escape routes with professional efficiency. Chief recognizes the tactic. They're not trying to kill him anymore. Just exhaust him, wear him down until capture becomes inevitable. He has maybe 2 minutes before the neurotoxin completely paralyzes him. Maybe 1 minute before the Furies close the net completely, and no way out that doesn't involve dying or being captured. Master Chief has faced these odds before, on Reach, on Installation 04, on High Charity, and he's still here. Weapon, he says quietly. Remember what I said about the Deep Whisper? That old energy signature you detected in the lowest ruins? Chief, no. You don't know what that is. It could be worse than the Furies, or it could be leverage. Chief makes his decision. He fires his last concussion grenade, not at the Furies, but at the floor. Space-time collapses, and the industrial steel gives way. He drops through, falling into darkness, into the forgotten levels beneath Apokolips' perfect order, into whatever's been waiting below. He falls for 3 seconds, long enough for the weapon to scream warnings, long enough for the Furies to realize what he's done and shriek in frustration. Then he impacts something that isn't floor, something that catches him, something that hums with ancient, terrible awareness. Light blooms in the darkness, not the red of Apokolips' sky, but blue-white, cold and clean. Chief finds himself in a chamber that predates the current regime by millennia. The walls are carved with symbols that make the weapons translation protocol stutter. And in the center, pulsing with power that makes his armor's sensors scream warnings, is an artifact. It looks like a box. Simple, geometric, perfect. But it radiates energy that feels fundamentally wrong. Not evil, not good, just other. As if it exists in violation of natural law. Chief, the weapon's voice is barely a whisper. That energy signature, I've been cross-referencing New Genesis databases. I think that's a fragment of the anti-life equation. Not the whole thing, but a piece. A shard of mathematical proof that free will is meaningless. Above, boom tubes erupt as the Furies descend. Calibax's roar echoes through the chamber. Whatever you found, anomaly, it won't save you. Chief looks at the artifact, looks at the Furies descending. His left arm is completely paralyzed, his right is weakening, his armor is failing, and he's trapped in a chamber with something that might be worse than Darkseid himself. And he realizes something. The artifact isn't hostile. It's waiting, testing. It wants to know if he's worthy of its power. The Flood offered power. The Composer offered immortality. The Domain offered knowledge. Chief refused them all because power that costs your humanity isn't power. It's corruption. But right now, with the Furies closing in and no other options visible, the artifact whispers promises. Touch me. Accept me. Let me show you why free will is suffering. Let me give you the strength to end all suffering. Let me make you perfect. Master Chief's hand reaches toward the artifact, and in the throne room high above, Darkseid's eyes snap open with sudden, terrible understanding. The human found it, the fragment I buried because even I feared its whispers. He rises from his throne for the first time in millennia. If he takes that power, he becomes something worse than any enemy I've faced, or he destroys himself trying to resist it. Darkseid activates a boom tube, not to the fire pits, to the ancient chamber itself. Either outcome, the Lord of Apokolips says quietly, will be instructive. Chief's fingers are inches from the artifact. The weapon is screaming warnings. The Furies are seconds away, and the choice that will define everything hangs in the balance. Take power and become what he's always fought against, or refuse and face certain capture, torture, and breaking. For once in his life, Master Chief Petty Officer John 117 doesn't know what the right answer is. Master Chief's hand stops 1 inch from the artifact, not because of the weapon's warnings, not because of tactical calculation, but because he remembers something Dr. Halsey told him when he was 6 years old, freshly abducted into the Spartan 2 program, terrified and alone. You will face choices where all options seem impossible. In those moments, John, remember who you are, not what we made you, who you chose to be. He pulls his hand back. No. His voice is steady despite the neurotoxin coursing through his veins, despite the Furies descending, despite everything. I've spent 40 years fighting beings who wanted to strip free will from the universe. I'm not becoming one of them. The artifact pulses once. Disappointment, maybe, or respect. The energy signature shifts, no longer pulling at his mind with whispered promises. It simply waits, as it has for millennia. Above him, Lashina crashes down, whip crackling. Foolish! You could have had power. Now you have nothing. Chief pivots on his one functioning leg, using momentum instead of strength. He grabs a chunk of fallen debris and hurls it at her face, not to hurt, but to disrupt. She deflects with her whip, exactly as he predicted. The energy discharge hits the chamber wall, and ancient symbols flare to life. The weapon gasps in his ear. Chief, those symbols, they're not apocalyptian, they're older, from whatever civilization was here before Darkseid conquered this world, and they're responding to... The chamber shakes, not from combat, from awakening. The walls shift, revealing alcoves that have been sealed for millennia. Inside each alcove, technology, weapons, armor, power cores, an arsenal buried by a civilization that fought Darkseid and lost, but hid their tools for someone worthy enough to refuse the anti-life fragment's temptation. Impossible! Darkseid's voice cuts through from above. He's peering down into the chamber, instruments extended. The precursor cache. We searched for it for centuries. How did a human trigger the unsealing? Because I said no. Chief understands now. The artifact wasn't a trap, it was a test. Darkseid buried it here, believing anyone who found it would be corrupted by its power or destroyed resisting. But the precursors, the ones who built this chamber, designed it differently. Only someone who could refuse power when desperate would earn access to their legacy. Bernadette drops through the opening, knives flashing. Chief can't dodge. His legs are barely responding now, but his working arm reaches into the nearest alcove and grabs something that feels like a rifle, but hums with energy that makes his Mjolnir armor's shields suddenly roar back to full capacity. He fires on instinct. The weapon speaks with a voice like compressed stars, and Bernadette's poisoned knives disintegrate in midair. The assassin's eyes widen. These are weapons that can harm even new gods, and she retreats with newfound caution. Weapon, what is this? Analyzing. Chief, this technology is incredible. It's not just advanced, it's conceptual. The rifle doesn't fire energy or matter. It fires negation. It tells things they don't exist, and reality agrees. The weapon's voice carries awe and horror. Chief, this is what Darkseid feared. Technology that could challenge even his Omega effect. Kalibak's massive form crashes through the ceiling, his club swinging. Ancient toys won't save you. Chief fires the negation rifle. The club ceases to exist, just stops being. Kalibak stares at his empty hands in disbelief, then at Chief with something resembling fear. You dare! A boom tube erupts in the chamber's center. Not the golden light of New Genesis or the crimson of regular Apokolips portals. This one is black shot through with red lightning, pure Omega energy compressed into transportation. Darkseid steps through. The Lord of Apokolips fills the chamber with his presence, not through size, though he stands 9 feet tall, but through sheer gravitational inevitability. His face is carved from living stone, his eyes burn with red fire that has ended civilizations, and when he speaks, reality itself seems to listen. Master Chief Petty Officer John 117. Darkseid's voice is earthquake and avalanche. You have proven more interesting than anticipated. You refuse power when offered. You inspire hope in the hopeless. You fight impossible odds with mortal flesh and call it duty. He steps closer, and even the Furies retreat from their master's advance. I have conquered 1,000 worlds. I have broken gods and bent planets to my will. I have searched for millennia for the anti-life equation. And in all that time, I have rarely encountered a being who genuinely puzzles me. Chief raises the negation rifle, aiming center mass. His hand is steady despite the neurotoxin, despite exhaustion, despite facing the being every hero in this universe fears. Then I'll make this simple. Let me go. Let the rebels go. I'll leave Apokolips and never return. No, Darkseid's smile is terrible to behold, because you misunderstand what you represent. I do not fear you, human. I fear what you prove. You demonstrate that free will, properly applied, can disrupt even my perfect control. That hope, however irrational, can inspire the hopeless to resist. That one sufficiently determined being can create chaos in my order. His eyes flare brighter. I cannot allow that proof to exist. Not because it threatens me, I am Darkseid, I am inevitable, but because it threatens the anti-life equation's absolute truth. If you can inspire hope through mere action, then perhaps free will has meaning, and I have spent eternity proving it does not. Then prove it. Chief's voice is steady. One-on-one. No Furies. No interference. You win. You've proven your point. I win. We all go free. Darkseid considers this for exactly 1 second. Then he gestures and the Furies retreat. Kalibak objects. Father, let me crush him. But one look from Darkseid silences even his loyal son. Very well. Face me, Spartan. Show me this free. Will you value so highly? Demonstrate that choice matters in the face of Omega. Chief fires the negation rifle. Darkseid's Omega beams erupt from his eyes. The two forces collide in the space between them. Conceptual negation versus absolute ending. The chamber screams with released energy. Ancient walls crack. The artifact pulses wildly. And for 3 impossible seconds, neither force wins. Then Darkseid smiles wider. Excellent. You wield the precursor's weapons as if born to them. But you forget, I conquered the precursors. I learned their secrets, and I buried them because I am what comes after. His Omega beams intensify. Chief's negation rifle begins to crack under the strain. The weapon screams warnings. Power cell overloading. Chief, the weapon can't sustain this output. Chief switches tactics. He stops trying to negate Darkseid's Omega beams and instead dives forward, using his Spartan speed in the split-second opening when Darkseid blinks to close distance. His nth metal blade, recovered from where he'd thrown it, appears in his working hand. He drives it toward Darkseid's throat. The tyrant catches Chief's wrist inches from impact. His grip is like being trapped in a vice made of collapsing stars. He lifts Chief off the ground one-handed, studying him with genuine curiosity. You actually thought that would work. The optimism is almost charming. Darkseid's other hand rises, Omega energy gathering. I will give you a clean death, Spartan. More than most receive. You earn that much. Chief's vision is graying from the neurotoxin, from exhaustion, from Darkseid's crushing grip. His armor is failing. His weapons are gone. He has nothing left but one final trick. Weapon? Remember? Contingency. Omega. Chief, no. That protocol. Execute. The emergency boom tube generator in Chief's armor activates, but not the one Orion gave him. That's been jammed since he entered the fire pits. This is the one the weapon has been building in secret for the past 2 days, using components from the precursor cache. Powered by the mother box fragment, and keyed to something even she didn't fully understand until now. The artifact, the anti-life fragment. Not to use its power, but to use it as an anchor point. The boom tube opens not to New Genesis, not to Earth, not to safety. It opens to elsewhere, to everywhere, to the space between spaces where Darkseid's control doesn't reach because even he hasn't conquered it yet. The fragment's energy surges. The chamber explodes with light, and Darkseid's grip loosens in surprise. Not pain, not fear, but genuine shock that the human would use the one thing even he respects as leverage. Chief, the rebels who've been hiding in the shadows of the chamber, the precursor weapons, and the anti-life fragment itself are pulled into the boom tube. Darkseid reaches after them, Omega beams firing, but dimensional barriers collapse too quickly. The last thing Chief sees before the universe inverts is Darkseid's face. Not angry, not disappointed, but something worse. Impressed. They emerge in the deep ruins, 3 levels below where they started, in Vex's stronghold. Chief crashes to the ground, armor sparking, neurotoxin finally claiming his consciousness. But he's alive. They're all alive. Vex stares at the unconscious Spartan, at the precursor weapons scattered around him, at the still glowing mother box fragment in his armor. He just challenged Darkseid himself, and survived. Kraz cradles Chief's helmet, checking vitals through the display. More than survived, he made Darkseid respect him. No one does that, no one. Then spread the word. Lyra's young voice carries steel forged in fire pits. Tell every slave, every rebel, every lowly and resistance cell across Apokolips. Hope survived. The Spartan fought a god and walked away. If he can do that, then maybe we can too. Stock finishes, his massive stone hands gentle as he helps carry Chief to medical stations. Above them, on multiple levels, word spreads through slave channels and rebel networks. The human who crashed from nowhere just faced Darkseid and lived. The symbols that have inspired resistance for millennia, the raised fist, the broken chain, the burning tower, gain a new companion, a green helmet, a Spartan's shield, a soldier who proved that even in hell, even facing gods, free will matters. In the throne room, Darkseid returns to his seat. Darkseid approaches carefully. My lord, shall I mobilize full forces? The human has precursor weapons now. He's even more dangerous. No! Darkseid's voice is thoughtful. Let him have his small victory. Let the slaves have their hope. It changes nothing. I am Darkseid. I am the Omega. He merely delayed his ending, but his eyes burn brighter. Though I admit, he is the most interesting variable to appear in millennia. When we meet again, and we will, I shall enjoy teaching him what all mortals learn eventually. What lesson, my lord? That hope is the cruelest, torture of all, because it makes the inevitable ending so much more painful. Master Chief sleeps in the deep ruins, his enhanced biology fighting neurotoxin and exhaustion. He doesn't know that his stand has inspired the largest coordinated slave uprising in Apokolips history. He doesn't know that New Genesis is preparing a rescue mission. He doesn't know that the Justice League has detected the dimensional anomalies and is investigating. He only knows that he held the line, refused corruption, saved his people, and completed the mission, even if the mission changed while he wasn't looking. When he wakes 12 hours later, the weapon has news. Chief, the mother box fragment has finally calculated the mathematics to your home universe. We can go home. But before he can respond, Vex enters with 1,000 rebels behind her, and in the distance, the sound of millions more rising up because one soldier proved that impossible odds aren't the same as impossible. Master Chief faces a choice: go home to his war or finish what he started here. For once, the choice is easy. You don't leave a fight unfinished, and Apokolips hasn't seen what a Spartan really means when he stops holding back. 3 weeks after a Spartan crashed into hell, Apokolips burns, not with Darkseid's engineered flames, but with something the tyrant hasn't seen in millennia: revolution. The fire pits stand silent, their slave workers freed or fled. Supply convoys no longer run unmolested through industrial sectors. Communication networks crackle with encrypted rebel chatter, that even Darkseid's algorithms can't fully decode. And in the deep ruins, in hidden strongholds across a dozen sectors, thousands gather under a symbol they never had before, a green helmet crossed with a broken chain. Master Chief stands in Vex's command center, studying holographic displays that would make any UNSC tactical officer proud. The weapon coordinates between 30 resistance cells now, their distributed network creating a web of opposition that forces Darkseid to fight on 100 fronts simultaneously. The precursor weapons have been distributed to the best fighters, each one making a mere rebel into a genuine threat to New God forces. And most importantly, the slaves have stopped accepting their chains as inevitable. The northwestern sector just reported successful capture of a Walker facility, Kraz announces, his three eyes bright with something Chief never thought he'd see on Apokolips. Genuine joy. They're turning the Walkers against patrol routes. Granny Goodness has pulled the Furies back to defend the orphanage itself. Kalibek's forces are overextended trying to hold the fire pits, Lyra adds, her blue fingers dancing across controls with expert precision. Darkseid's requested additional support from Darkseid. He's losing ground. Vex approaches Chief, her scarred face showing grudging respect that's evolved into something deeper. 3 weeks ago, I would have called this impossible. Now we control a third of the industrial sectors, we've freed over 10,000 slaves, and we're forcing Darkseid himself to notice us as more than insects. She pauses. You did this. You showed us how. Chief shakes his head. I showed you what you already knew. That you were stronger than you believed. That organization beats chaos. That hope isn't weakness. It's the most powerful weapon any soldier has. Pretty words from someone who's planning to leave. Vex's tone isn't accusatory, just stating fact. The weapon told me, your way home is open. The mother box can calculate the return trip now. It can. Chief looks at the holographic displays at the liberated sectors, at the faces of rebels who become soldiers. But Darkseid is still here. The moment I leave, he'll commit his full strength to crushing this rebellion. You've done incredible work, but you're not ready to face him alone. We'll never be ready, Stock rumbles from his position by the door. Darkseid is Darkseid, but at least we'll die fighting instead of dying in chains. That's worth something. The weapon whispers privately in Chief's ear. New Genesis has been monitoring. Highfather wants to speak with you. And Chief, there's something else. Superman detected the dimensional anomalies. The Justice League is coming. Master Chief has spent 3 weeks in hell. 3 weeks organizing, fighting, bleeding for people who aren't his species, aren't his responsibility, aren't part of his mission. He's done what he came to do. Survived, adapted, found a way home. The logical choice is to take it, return to his universe, to his war, to the fight that's always been his. But standing here watching former slaves coordinate military operations with professional competence, seeing hope burn where tyranny demanded only despair, he understands something fundamental. Some missions don't end just because you complete the objective. Some fights matter enough that walking away becomes impossible. Weapon? He says quietly. How long before the Justice League arrives? 4 hours given boom tube travel time from Earth. Then we have 4 hours to make this rebellion unbreakable. Chief turns to the assembled rebel leaders. Darkseid knows we're a threat now. He'll move to crush us before outside help arrives. We need to force his hand, make him commit to a decisive battle where Superman and the others can hit him while he's distracted. You're talking about bait, Vex realizes, using ourselves as bait to draw out Darkseid. I'm talking about finishing what we started. Chief pulls up a tactical map, marking Darkseid's tower, the heart of Apokolips, the symbol of his absolute rule. We hit the tower itself, not to conquer it, we don't have the strength, but to prove it can be attacked, to show every slave on this planet that even Darkseid's throne room isn't untouchable. The silence is absolute. Then Kraz starts laughing, sharp, almost hysterical. You're insane, completely, wonderfully insane. Let's do it. 4 hours later, Master Chief leads 300 rebels through boom tubes, created by precursor technology, empowered by the Motherbox fragment. They emerge in Darkseid's tower itself, in the throne room where the tyrant has sat for millennia. Darkseid is waiting. Spartan. His voice carries satisfaction. You return, not to escape, not to hide, but to challenge. I wondered if you would. Hope is predictable that way. It always overreaches. Chief raises a precursor negation rifle, surrounded by rebels wielding weapons that can harm even gods. This ends today. Either you fall, or we prove you can bleed. Either way, Apokolips learns that tyranny isn't eternal. Tyranny is all that's eternal. Darkseid rises from his throne, Omega energy crackling. Free will is the lie. I am the truth, and truth cannot be defeated by hope alone. The boom tubes erupt again, golden light this time. Superman crashes through, followed by Wonder Woman, Batman, the Flash, and the rest of the Justice League. They see Chief, see the rebels, see Darkseid preparing for battle. Superman's eyes widen with recognition. You're not from our Earth. Different armor, different technology signature. Who are you? Master Chief, UNSC Navy. And right now, we're on the same side. Chief doesn't lower his weapon. You want to stop Darkseid? So do we. Let's finish this together. What follows is a battle that Apokolips will remember for millennia. Superman and Darkseid clash with force that shatters the tower. Wonder Woman leads rebels in coordinated strikes against the Furies. Batman analyzes precursor weapons and adapts Justice League tactics on the fly. And Master Chief, exhausted, damaged, running on fumes and Spartan stubbornness, holds the line alongside people who've become more than allies. They've become his squad. They don't win. Not completely. Darkseid is exactly what everyone said. Inevitable, overwhelming, the Omega. But they hurt him. They force him to retreat, to reconsider, to acknowledge that absolute control has cracked. Superman carries Chief out as the tower collapses, and Batman secures the rebel leaders through strategic boom tubes. On the Watchtower, as Justice League medical technology works to purge the last of the neurotoxin from Chief's system, Superman asks the question that matters. Will you stay? Help us fight Darkseid permanently? Master Chief looks at Earth through the Watchtower's windows, blue and green and achingly familiar despite being a different universe. He thinks of his Earth, his war, the fight he left behind. But he also thinks of Cortana's final words. Don't make a girl a promise you can't keep. He promised to finish the fight. All of them. The weapon calculated my way home, Chief says finally, but she can also calculate the way back here. This universe's Apokolips, my universe's covenant. They're the same fight wearing different faces. Tyranny trying to crush free will. And I've spent 40 years proving tyranny can lose. Then we'll see you again, Wonder Woman says with a warrior's respect. Count on it. Chief stands, armor repaired by Wayne Tech in new Genesis collaboration, weapons restocked, ready for whatever comes next. But first, I have a war to finish at home. The boom tube opens, dimensional mathematics solved, path home clear. Master Chief steps toward it, then pauses. He turns to the Justice League, to the rebels who followed him through literal hell, to the universe that will remember a Spartan stand. Hope shines brightest in the darkest night, he says. Remember that when Darkseid returns, because he will. And when he does, you'll know what to do. You'll finish the fight. He steps through the boom tube and reality bends. The last thing the Justice League sees is green armor disappearing into light, carrying with it proof that even gods can bleed when mortal courage refuses to yield. On Apokolips, in the deep ruins, Vex and her rebels build something that hasn't existed. In millennia, a genuine resistance with genuine hope. They call themselves the Spartans now, in honor of the soldier who taught them that impossible odds aren't the same as impossible victory. And in his rebuilt throne room, Darkseid contemplates the variable that disrupted his perfect order. The human is gone, returned to his universe, but the damage remains. Hope has taken root. Free will has proven resilient. Interesting, Darkseid murmurs to the empty air. Perhaps the anti-life equation requires new variables after all. If one mortal can inspire such resistance, imagine what could be learned from studying an entire universe of such beings. His eyes burn red with terrible purpose. The war between Apokolips and New Genesis is eternal, but now somewhere in the multiverse, a new variable exists. A Spartan who proved that even in hell, even facing gods, duty and honor matter. And when universes collide again, as they inevitably will, Master Chief Petty Officer John 117 will be ready. Because Spartans never die, they just go missing in action until they're needed again.